Welcome back into Rounding Third Baseball, episode 302. Baseball is an absolute mess. I'm Nick. We have Harrison tonight. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
Fantastic, Nick. What a great time for the Players Association to just implode on itself. This will be fun.
I mean, it is all self-inflicted too. This is absolutely insane, but
There's nothing important coming up or anything, so why not?
oh god, it's unreal. We will get into all of it, but first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Logitech, MLB Shop, and Lids. So if you use any of these products or buy anything from these companies, please do it through our links as we get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. Just a great way to support the show. We also have Rounding Third merch on Etsy. We have sweatshirts, t-shirts, tumblers, phone cases. I mean, I got my Rounding Third phone case right here, pretty sharp. Check it out. Another great way to support us and to get our name out there. And finally, on Patreon, we are building a small community over there. I'm hoping to do more stuff with that as the season rolls on. So check out Rounding Third Baseball on Patreon. It's just another way to kind of support us and to get more intimate interactions with Harrison and myself. So check us out on Patreon.
Come on back, Nick.
We're starting off great. Love that. Let's get
What?
right into it. We'll get
What just happened?
It just says oops, connection lost on this restream. Restream's having a problem with us lately, but I don't know. Anyways, let's start it off with Walker Buehler signing with the Padres on a minor league deal. We will get to Walker Buehler later in our National League what ifs, but Padres are grasping at straws, is what I'm feeling from them. I'm getting that feeling from the Padres. They're trying to just grab what they can at this point.
I mean, yeah, the Padres are looking at this as we need arms, and this is a potentially inexpensive option. If this guy could ever find what he used to have, then it's a great deal. If he never finds what he used to have, it didn't cost you a lot of money, and you took a chance. Uh, but I do think the Padres are looking around, kind of like the Red Sox did last year. Let's go grab some guys that are either hurt or trying to make a comeback and see if we can get anything out of them. And I think there are times that's a good idea. I think there's times where that's a bad idea. But I think the Padres right now just need bodies.
Yeah, I mean, and Captain just kind of took the words right out of my mouth. It's the Padres scrap heap in 2026, and we kind of figured that was the only way the Padres were going to be able to compete. We've talked about their financial issues, we've talked about all that stuff, but in the midst of all of these issues for the Padres, they extend AJ Preller. So, what are your thoughts on that one?
Apparently, the Padres love to just be the ugly cousin of the Dodgers. Um, I mean, I said it last year when AJ Preller traded away the entire minor league system. He's either going to go for it and look like a hero, or they're going to miss it and he's going to look like a zero and put his job on the line. I don't know how you give a GM like that an extension when he's done nothing but strap you with bad contracts and wipe out your minor league system. I mean, point to anything productive that AJ Preller has done for you. Other than Jackson Merrill, what do you got?
Uh, a lot
Nothing.
of overpaid contracts is what you got.
A bunch of big contracts, bad personalities, managers that can't last,
Yeah.
and zero important games won.
Yep. Aaron's saying hoping Giants can overtake Padres in the division. I think it's a given. I think the Giants come in second there. Padres are trying, however, they're still going to be the bridesmaids to the Dodgers. Anybody in that division is it doesn't matter.
They're the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, Preller is great at spending other people's money. Yeah, and to have job security on top of that's just crazy. But whatever.
I'd love to hear a Padres fan or even the Padres media explained to me why extending AJ Preller made sense. I don't. I have a lot of respect for AJ Preller. I thought he was a very good general manager. He's had a really bad few years, and they're just going to let him keep doing it.
Yeah, I think as long as they don't overhaul the entire organization, we're going to be sitting here talking about the Padres like this for the next few years. I mean, we talked about it last show with Schilt being like, I don't want a principal, I want a coach. This isn't the place for me. And you just kind of backfill it with an interim coach that's in the same organization, kind of in the same culture. I think until the backbones of the team or the stars of the team's contracts run out and go away, the Padres are really stuck and they can't reset. So it's either you got to shake up the entire organization, get those contracts out of there somehow, or you're going to be stuck like this for a while.
Yeah,
There's no
I
in
mean,
between.
and if I'm a a Dodgers fan or like Aaron, a Giants fan, this is great news.
Yeah.
Let the Padres continue to do stuff that makes no sense and hang on to being barely relevant.
Yep.
This is a great opportunity for somebody else to come in and push the Giants down the standings because they don't have a lot coming. They don't have a lot on that roster. They're in a massive transition mode, and there's nobody coming to help because Preller traded them all away.
Yeah. Yeah. Brandon says to think 2 years ago they were up 2-1 on the Dodgers and couldn't finish it. They had pieces, but they didn't win. And I think this is a massive hangover from
Yep.
that. And it's showing. It's brutal. They should go full on own the dysfunction and go full beers in the dugout, etc. Well, Castellanos is part of that now, so I'm sure that's going to happen. So love it.
They may end up there after all. Who knows?
Yep. AJ Preller is fun to watch from afar, but he's a poker player, hedging his bets and hoping he can win that one big hand. It hasn't happened yet, but there's still a threat. I mean, Nico, yeah, they still have pieces, but with their pitching staff kind of in shambles and then not really knowing what they're going to get out of the guys they've signed, um, do you get a healthy Musgrove back? Does Bueller pan out? Does all the other guys that you brought back pan out? I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, as long as you have Machado there and other veterans like that, they're going to be a decent ball team. I'm not saying they're the Colorado Rockies of the NL West. No,
No.
no, they're still going to win some ball games. They're still going to be middle of the pack to the upper part of the league there. But I just think at some point it's going to get old for them and they need a complete overhaul. But we'll see.
Well, and I think that that's the problem with the Padres. They've always had a few pieces, but they've never had more than that. They've never had a team that actually like gelled and worked together. They've never had a leader. They've never had more than a couple of guys. They've always been missing that kind of that last piece to pull it all together. And then you see Castellanos come over and another problem child, and they just keep loading themselves up with problems. And
Yeah.
this is that team that somehow thinks they're gonna find every turd out there and polish it and end up with just a bunch of diamonds, and that's not the case.
Yeah. Nope. Absolutely. Yeah, Michael, there's talent, but they're all head cases. Yeah. Mhm. So,
John, Padres need Jesus, and I'm not a religious type person.
yeah, it's crazy. But all right, let's get
Well,
into. Oh,
and
go ahead.
real quick though, John Carter brings up a good point. Is that why Pujols bailed? We never got the whole story on Pujols. He interviewed there for like 9 hours. They loved him. Seemed like it was a great match.
Yeah.
Then it was crazy quiet. All of a sudden, Pujols was out and Craig Stammen was in, and we're all like, "What?
Yeah.
You're hiring your front office assistant to the GM to be the manager? Holy cow!"
Yeah. And that
Just
could have been. It sounds like to me it was Pujols that was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
just more of the same in San Diego.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, let's get into this absolute train wreck. Tony Clark, president of the MLBPA, resigns on Tuesday amid an investigation of inappropriate relationship investigation involving his sister-in-law. that they hired back in 2023. So you got some weird work stuff there, whether it was disclosed or not, don't know that. But then you have an affair with your sister in law during all this. And then also reports are coming out that he is enriching himself from licensing money. So possibly a little bit of embezzlement there. What does this do for the impending lockout? When you first heard this, you were just like, what's going on?
Well, once I stopped laughing at how obscene this is, my immediate thought was, "Oh crap." This the one thing Tony Clark's been pretty good at over the years is keeping things from going like way off the rails. Um, he is a thoughtful guy. He is a well put together guy. he doesn't he doesn't get crazy into this thing. He's firm, but he's also reasonable, and he tends to be the voice of reason. Losing him going into what will be probably our most contentious labor situation in baseball history is a little scary because I'm not sure what everybody else thinks and who's going to lead the charge now. I know that Meyer's stepping in, but we don't know a lot about him. I just it makes the players association look weak and fragile. It takes out one of the more reasonable negotiators. It creates a lot of uncertainty in a time where you don't need any more of that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you 100%. I don't. It's just great. Mike, I'm with you here. Someone with power was taking money that wasn't his. I'm shocked.
Yeah, right.
Dirty politics in a position of power. What a shocker.
Well, and
Um,
and in MLBPA is a pretty well-run organization generally. Like, how on earth was he slipping money out the back door? Like, who? It makes you wonder, like, who else was in on this if that's the case?
yeah.
Because he
Well,
wasn't like just writing checks to himself and walking out the door, and everybody's like, "Oh, geez, there's not as much money as we thought."
yeah, I mean, there is a full-on, full-scale investigation, so we could be hearing more of this stuff coming out, more details of this as time rolls on. So I don't know. It just typical baseball, the worst timing possible, something like this happens. It's typical MLB.
I mean, it is. Although usually it's MLB that screws this up. Now it's the Players Association stepping right in it. So this is an
Sure.
interesting like turn of events.
Yeah.
And MLBPA could not have stepped in it any worse than this. Your top guy goes down for having an affair with a family member and apparently is slipping money out the back door. Um, in the midst of a highly contentious potential labor stoppage, with some players that are wondering if the union is going to have the money to be able to cover their costs, and he's taking money out the back door.
Yeah.
I I just it couldn't be worse for the MLBPA.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it looks more and more like there's no baseball in 2027. I couldn't agree more. I was on record saying I thought the Kyle Tucker deal was the nail in the coffin. Um, but if Kyle Tucker was the nail in the coffin, Tony Clark just buried the casket. Because I mean, I don't think there's any way, right? Because, well, let's just jump into it. So Bruce Meyer kind of takes over the MLBPA. What will this mean, if anything, that someone new is in the seat? Is he more apt to play hardball to make a statement, to say that, like, hey, I'm here and I'm here for the players. So I'm holding firm.
I mean, I don't know. The problem is Bruce Meyer was the number 2 and has been for a while. He's been there since 2018. He was a key negotiator in the 21-22 collective bargaining agreement. Um, but he's only the interim. They haven't given him the full title yet. He's just going to step in and keep the lights on while they figure out what to do next. My gut reaction was, if I'm the union, I'm going to go out and find somebody with either a really strong business background or a really strong legal background heading into this kind of negotiation, because you're going to get into a lot of contracts semantics, a lot of economic conversation, a lot of financial conversation. You want somebody prepared to handle that. Not that Tony Clark couldn't, but you want somebody who's well versed in that and can sit at that table with those people. I'm not sure Bruce Meyer's that guy. and maybe they decide he is. But I think the players, and we heard Chris Bassett had a quote today. We can bring up here in a minute. The players are prepared. Sounds like to die on this hill. They are going to fight the salary cap to the end.
Yeah,
Um, they're big. They're still pointing their fingers at the lower level, the lower spending teams, and saying that's the problem in baseball, not the Dodgers. And of course, why would they agree with the salary cap? It's going to cut into what they make.
right.
But I think no matter who heads up the union, the players are going to be pushing on them to absolutely take this to the end.
Yeah. This guy's been in the MLBPA, so it's not like he's an outside guy that they just brought off the street and was like, "Hey, uh, you want this job?" So like he has an idea of what's going on, what the players want. So this isn't like a random hire, if you will, right? Like he's been kind of brought up through the ranks, I guess, for lack of better terminology. So he knows what's going on. He's been in the office. He understands the significance of this. My worry is that, and hearing, like you said, the players talk, especially a lot this past week about we're ready to go to war and we don't want a salary cap. I have a feeling this guy's going to hold firm. Like I am the new president. I'm here to make a statement, um, and I'm not budging. That's my biggest worry here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and Bruce Meyer was involved in the 21-22 CBA. He's sat there through a work stoppage before. And he was with the NHL Players Union for a few years before he joined the MLB Players Union. So this is a guy who's been in, sports unions for a decade now.
Yeah,
Not a newbie, but also I don't know that he's necessarily the guy that you want to be, at the front of this battle either. Maybe ultimately the union decides he's the right guy, but this is also the union's chance to step back and say, okay, like given the war we're about to go into, like who is the right person to take us into it? Is it this guy, or is there somebody else out there who's better equipped to lead us into battle? Because this is not going to be a sit down, everybody grab a coffee, let's talk out some details and call it a day. Like this is going to be a war.
yeah. Yeah, and he is just officially the interim, right? They haven't
Yeah, he's just the
officially
interim.
elected, right? So we'll see what 2026 brings, and if he isn't the right guy, then they'll elect somebody new at some point this year. I'd imagine because you'd want him in place for this lockout, which will happen first week of December's usually when this I think when the CBA expires. Um, but either way, moot point. Um, we're in for no baseball in 2027. I'm calling it right now. It sucks, but I
Yeah,
don't see this. I don't see this working out anytime soon. Look how long it took them for 2021 to get like really worked out. Like they pretty much took they said they started in December. They met, they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" "Good." "All right, see you tomorrow." That was like the full length of the meeting for the entire month of December.
yep,
It didn't even seem like anything came out of any of those meetings. I feel like it's going to be like that for the first 2, 3, maybe even 4 months where the two sides meet like you going to budge? No. Are you going to budge? No. All right, let's just go home. We'll talk tomorrow. That's going to be the first 3, 4 months of this negotiation. And then we start as like you said, the pressure's not on until we start missing games. April comes, March comes, I'll say
yeah,
they're going to start feeling the heat. Then they're really going to start meeting. But there's too much to hash out for them to hash it out in a month and a half to even remotely get the season started on time. I am fully prepared for even if it does get signed. I wouldn't be surprised if the players just turn around and strike if a salary cap goes in place. Imagine that.
I mean they'd have to sign off on it. So anything that gets the nice part with this is that you've got a clean CBA, so both sides have to get to the table and sign off on it, and that's gonna be the hard part is actually getting a final document that everybody says, yeah, we agree to work under those terms, both sides, and sign it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be
is that
gonna
the
be tough.
MLBPA deciding that, or do the players Like, the 25th man on the 25-man roster gets to sign his name on that CBA.
Well, all the player reps, it's the player reps, the executive committee, and then the actual union. So those
Okay.
guys all have to weigh in.
Okay.
It's
Gotcha.
all done by vote. So I mean, I guess you could have a faction of players that don't like it, but the guys that don't like it are going to be the ones that don't have a better option.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, I don't, I didn't think we are going to have baseball in 27 with Tony Clark. I definitely don't think we're going to have baseball without Tony Clark.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's brutal. At this point, I almost hope for a lockout. I mean, it's terrible because hardcore baseball fans like us hate this part of the game. And money rules everything, money ruins everything, and it's as we've talked about, it's not about the game of baseball anymore. It's about how can I get paid the most money?
Yeah, and we heard that from David Griffin. Getting put on the dev list and all that. It wasn't about can you pitch? Are you good enough? There was very much a business side of baseball. It was every move was designed to create some kind of outcome, whether it was roster flexibility, financial flexibility. I remember the old days of not calling guys up until May, so you could actually extend their service time. It was never. It's not about the game. It is very much about the business, and that's where fans get mad. They want it to be about the game, and owners like, no, this is a business. Like I spent a lot of friggin' money to own this, and I'm going to run it in the way that works for me.
Yeah. And Mike kind of backs that point a little bit, Harrison. He's like, I'll keep saying this is an
Yeah.
issue, until the beginning, the owners need to get on the same page before they can even send a proposal to the players. And that's a fair point. Even if you have the Dodgers on this side and the other 29, like that's not going to work for the owners. They all have to be unanimous in this. And if they're torn, they can't even get to the other side to tell them what they want. So that's another interesting piece in this whole entire thing. If you got owners split down the middle, or maybe not even down the middle, but if you just got them split, you can't bring a proposal to the other side if you guys can't even agree on it on your side.
Well, and that's the hard part. Like, there is not a common theme here. There's not a common villain. You've got the players that are mad at the the kind of the bottom 15 teams. The bottom 15 teams are mad at the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't care, and everybody's kind of like looking at somebody else. So there's no common theme. There's no common enemy. So there's going to be no common ground. You've
Right.
got one faction of owners that want one thing, one faction want a different. The players want something altogether different, and you have absolutely zero consistency in what the actual demands are going to be. And to Mike's point, you can't create one unified proposal to the players because there isn't one. And
Right.
Rob Manfred's going to have a hell of a time getting all 30 owners to agree on what they're going to present because they don't all agree.
So I mean, hell, maybe that's what takes the first 3, 4 months is just getting the owners set. Because I mean, can they? I mean, they probably can meet during the season, but are they gonna?
Yeah. I
Most
mean,
likely not.
they met last year
Yeah,
to begin to lay out their plan.
yeah, but are they going to do that numerous times throughout this season to try to get something together? I, I don't know.
I would hope so. If I'm an owner, I'd certainly want to have my act together before we hit the deadline, but I mean, maybe not. Maybe some of these owners are like, whatever, we don't care, take it down.
Yeah, it's crazy. Curtis says Notre Dame is here. You'll maybe see 100-game season if one happens in 2027. I don't even think we see 100. I think at the most we see a COVID season.
I say
What was that?
I think our best case is a
60?
COVID season.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, 'cause it takes 3 or 4 months for the owners to get their crap together, then another 3 or 4 months for them to kind of meet and part ways, and then another couple months. We're looking at 2027 gone. Like we're already almost in March at this point, so it's crazy. It's not going to happen. But
Yep.
um,
And the agreement expires December 1st at 11:59 p.m.
okay, yeah,
So basically December 1st.
yeah. And Michael, you're 1,000% right. And this is what we've been talking about. Michael says the players want this, the owners want that. Who loses? Only the fans. And 1,000% right. And then listen, they come out of this lockout and you have missed an entire season. We've talked about it. You'll lose all momentum of the growth of the game. In fact, I think you'll start seeing it avalanche down because people that are, John Temple said it back earlier in the check, millionaires fighting billionaires while we're sitting here living paycheck to paycheck, right? People that come and watch your games are taking the little extra money that they have and coming to watch you play. And then you're just not going to show up for something that we love to do and want to spend our money on to watch, and you guys aren't going to be there. People are going to stop going to games. Yes, you'll have diehard fans, but you will lose all your casual fans, and attendance will decrease because of that. Almost guarantee it. It has every time coming out of one of these. So crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And real quick on Bruce Meyer, his background before getting into sports, he was a litigator and a trial lawyer. So he is the legal side of the equation.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, and John Temple, this is a fair point. Dodgers have 7+ billionaires in their ownership group. Our cries are like buzzing of flies to them. Yeah, they don't care. Just swat us away. It's fine. They don't care.
Well, and that's the hard part. Like to Michael's point, like only the fans end up losing here. You got owners that want different things. You got players that want something different. Everybody's pointing at somebody else. It is. I mean, this is more dysfunctional than I think just about any other sport. And there's nobody in this fray that's going to be the voice of reason. Everybody's just going to dig in.
Yeah. Do you think if a salary cap was put in place, when future CBAs come to the table, they would be quote unquote easier negotiations?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you do the hard work to put a salary cap in place in the future, it's really easy to just roll it forward, update it for current times, and roll it forward. And that's what MLB had been doing for a while. And then they got into luxury tax, and then it was creating all these other incentive pools for the arbitration eligible players and the players that get have reached certain thresholds early, and they've made this whole thing so complicated with all these things they've added along the way. It's like a patchwork quilt now.
Yep.
And nobody remembers how the hell that patch got there. But
Yeah.
it's there, and we got to figure out what to do with it. And you just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. And now nobody really understands what the hell's in it.
Right. Or when it starts breaking, they have no idea how to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
And you try to fix something by doing something, and it ends up tripping a problem downstream somewhere else. And you don't end up getting the outcome you want.
yeah.
And
Dakota,
oh,
this
go
is
ahead.
what I said. The exact second the Dodgers signed Kyle Tucker, we went into a lockout for 2027. Yeah, I said it. I mean, yes, Michael, it wasn't just Tucker. It's everything. It's Soto.
Tucker's just the final straw.
Right. It's Soto. It's Otani. It's these massive asinine contracts, right? And it is the other side. I am getting on that fence too, right? It is. I mean, I can't even put the Pirates in that conversation anymore because they did spend this offseason, but it was them. It's the Rockies. It's the Marlins. And, you know, each organization's a little bit different, but there needs to be a floor. I completely agree. You need to make the owners at least spend what they get back in revenue share instead of pocket it. Um, that is an issue that needs to be addressed. I agree with, I think everybody's on board with that, but dude, this is gonna be a mess, and it is gonna be hard for us to cover because once this starts flying back and forth, it's going to be hard to keep tabs on because there is so much stuff that needs to be worked out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, just out of curiosity, and the Dodgers going into spring training are sitting at a total payroll plus tax of $527 million.
Jesus.
Now, the Mets, who
Also up
came,
there.
who came around to spend some money, are at 481 million, and then you got the Yankees at 406, the Phillies at 360, and Toronto at 326. There's only 5 teams above 300 million. It's those 5, and then you fall to San Diego, who's at 267 in 6th place. I mean, it falls off fast.
I mean, that's crazy though. The number 5 team, right? The Dodgers are almost double the number 5 team.
Number 6 team. Number 5 is
Oh,
326. Number
okay. Well, either way. Well,
Yeah, they're almost double the
whatever.
team number. That's number 6.
Okay, sorry. As everybody knows, I don't math
Crazy.
here, but you're lucky I got close enough to say double. But yeah, it's nuts. And that gap needs to close, I think. And we've talked about it, either a stiffer luxury tax with higher penalties, the deferred payments need to count when the players are on the field towards a luxury tax, something of that aspect. And I think that's the concession they're gonna have to make if they don't want a luxury tax. I mean, if they don't want a salary cap, sorry. Right? Like Shohei's 70 million a year is going to count 70 million against the cap this year. I think that's the only way that they can what's the word I'm looking for? The agree on it, right? Like both
Yeah.
sides come together with it. If you don't want a cap, fine. But we're going to essentially make a cap because we're going to make the penalty so hard that if you go above it, it's going to cost you draft picks. It's going to cost you compensation picks, all this stuff. But that contract also has to count towards that year's salary. The fact that Otani's, 46 million a year only counts towards the luxury tax is also an issue.
It does. I mean, there's lots of, as we've talked about, there's lots of the luxury. I love the concept of luxury tax. You got to fund all of your competition.
Yeah.
But what we're realizing is there's absolutely there's no level that's enough to stop the Dodgers from doing what they're doing. And I mean, the Mets are not far behind them. The Mets are
Right.
also,
Right.
just not so blatantly doing it, but doing it.
Yeah, I think the Mets have joined the conversation with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers get the bulk of it because they've been doing it for quote unquote longer, I guess. I don't know. Or it's just the names that they have landed, and the Mets are kind of second fiddle to that, if you will. But yeah, the Mets are just as guilty as the Dodgers are. This isn't just a Dodgers issue. The fact that Steve Cohen can have a $700 million payroll, it doesn't work out. He can ship everybody out and then try it again the next year is also an issue. So, man, it's crazy. I don't know.
It just amazes me to look at the Mets and see what they're paying some of these guys. Just makes you shake your head.
Yeah,
Sean Manaea is a $22 million guy. Luis Robert Jr. 22 million. Polanco 20 million. It's like, wow.
yeah. And Greg, I agree with this, right? Could just be draft picks. I'd say at the very least something affecting international signing. I agree. And I was just using draft picks as an example. I think there's a lot of different ways you can quote unquote penalize a team for, going over the luxury tax threshold. And maybe you make it the penalty like astronomical, like 250% or 300%, something ridiculous like that even Dodgers are going to be like, maybe it isn't worth it. But who knows? Maybe they still blow through that too. I don't know. But man, it's a mess. And I don't know how this is going to come out at all. So
it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
yeah.
The plot the plot continues to thicken.
How would you want this to come out? Not what you think. How would you want it to come out? The final result.
I mean, I go back to I'd still like to see an insanely punitive luxury tax. Um, not a 50% second time and 100, like every dollar over, there's a substantial penalty, 2x, 3x what you spent. Make it hurt. You want to spend the money, great, do it. but you're going to cut a massive check back to the league and fund all these other teams because the problem is you put a salary cap in place, and honestly, there are some teams here that can't even afford a salary cap. I mean, if
Right.
you're going to put a salary cap at the luxury tax level of 244, there are teams that are not going to be able to spend to that anyways.
Right.
So it's like the cap only sort of gets you there. A super punitive luxury tax, at least it gives you more reason not to spend over that. But if you do you're just going to have to fund your competition. But I look in the NFL, like the Dallas Cowboys last year had a profit of like $600 million because of a salary cap. Like the team is insanely profitable, but
Yeah.
it's because they can't spend more money on players. So they spend money on other stuff. They build better stadiums. They hire bigger staffs. They just do more things. They have better facilities because they can't spend it on players.
Yeah. Now, what about the floor? Now, I mean, you kind of bring up a good point where like you can't put the floor so high that it's unrealistic for a market like the Rockies or the Marlins to get to, correct? Like, I mean, you can't set it at, 115 million and expect those guys to get there because they might just not even have the cash flow for it.
Well, yeah, I think you run the risk of if you set the floor too high, you're going to put teams in positions where they can't spend to it. They're just going to have to take the penalty, or you're going to have owners that sell, but nobody's going to want to buy the team when you're playing from rules that don't work.
Yeah.
I think you run the risk of potentially making some of your teams no longer viable if you set that floor too high. Now, if they had a better team, would they make some more revenue through greater ticket sales and all that? Yeah, they would make more money, but it's not like if you spend another 10 million bucks in payroll, you're going to earn 10 million bucks in ticket sales. Like there's a ceiling to that.
Right.
So it's not like you can just magically match them. But I don't see a world in which, some of these teams can spend what they would need to spend to get to a cap. They may not be able to spend what it takes to get to a floor and still actually be viable organizations.
Yeah, and what would be the like I mean, I understand there has to be penalties if you don't reach a floor, but like how do you penalize a team that doesn't even have the money to get to the floor? Like
Yeah.
just making them worse? Like
Well,
I don't
and who decides who can and can't afford it?
right.
It's one of those things of okay, so you pick a floor and you look across the league and say, well, geez, that's everybody should be able to afford that. But you've got teams that own their stadiums, teams that don't own their stadiums, teams that are just leasing them. Yeah, you've got all these different structures in place. It's not like every team spends the same amount of money on baseball operations and stadium operations, and everybody's got a different deal. You
Right.
know, a team like the Red Sox who own Fenway Park have a different deal than the Milwaukee Brewers who rent their stadium.
Right.
They're not the same. And
Yeah.
it's hard to try to make one rule and just kind of spread it across the league and say you have to spend at least this much because that number might be too high for some. It might be fine for others.
Right. Like you said, some teams have a mortgage and others don't. So it's hard.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
and again, like then you've got the teams that own their own TV networks and the teams that don't.
Yeah.
The beauty of leagues like the NFL, they don't have any of these problems. The teams generally they negotiate their own stadiums. They do what they got to do. TV is managed by the league. They all got a cut of it. Merchandise is managed by the league. They all got a cut of it. The only thing they got to worry about is their local revenues, which is their ticket sales, on-site merch, things like that, and how many times they rent the stadium out for concerts. But
Right.
they don't have to deal with all the other stuff. It's much simpler. Baseball is just not that simple.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Well, before we move on, Mike Reed did win the Jamie Moyer off-season contest. Since we have spring training games starting tomorrow, Mike Reed is our Jamie Moyer off-season champion. So for those of you guys that don't know, every show through the off-season, I hit Jamie Moyer somewhere in the show. And Mike Reed got him 11 times with Michael Simpson a close second with 7. So Congratulations, Mike Reed. I will message you at some point this week to get information so you can get one of those handy dandy rounding third t-shirts. You're welcome. And great
Yeah.
job. Thanks for watching.
I didn't even notice. Did somebody get more tonight?
Yeah, Mike Reed got him.
Did Mike get him? I was going back in the comments. I'm like, I don't see where anybody said pointed out Moyer.
Yeah, they did for sure. So
Good.
all right. So we had a follower, Ivan, messaged me with a pretty good question. When we were doing our 300th episode, we were talking about the 8 players that could potentially reach 300 career home runs this year, and there's 8 of them. And he goes, all right, now I pose this question to you. Which number will be higher this year? Number of players to get 300 career home runs in 2026, or number of players to hit 300 or better in 2026?
Oh, the home runs for sure. I mean, the 300 batting average seems to have died. I mean, we had what was it 3? I can't remember how many it was this past year.
Yeah, we almost had a batting champion below 300. So yeah, absolutely insane.
To me, there's no way it's batting average. It's got to be the guys hitting the home run record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 guys hit 300 or better this year. So it was Yandy Diaz, Trey Turner, Jeremy Pena, George Springer, Jacob Wilson, Bo Bichette, and Aaron Judge.
Okay. So you said 7, and we have 8 players that might get 300 homers. Yeah, Forrest, it is very sad that this is a valid question.
Yeah.
Right? Man, yeah, it's extremely sad. All right, so Davish says homers for sure. Yet nobody hits 309 anymore for sure. John Temple, I'll take number of Tommy Johns in a season. That it's already smashed it. It's already got up to like 10. But anyways, yeah, I think possibly I told him in the messages, I said it's a push. I said it's 6. 6 players hit 300 home runs, 6 players hit over 300. That's the number
totally
I'm
couldn't.
going with. But
Totally couldn't.
I know that's a cop out answer, but yeah, that's where that's where I'm going with it.
I mean, it is a cop out answer, but I think it's sadly the only one we got.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't see the 300 hitters being more than the home run guys. Maybe it's enough to match them, but I don't see how it's more.
I don't either. All right. Here we go. We did our American League Hall of Fame potential what ifs after Skeeter Barnes was on Sunday, which was an incredible interview. So if you missed that, go back and check it out, and relive that. He went through his career, talked about some awesome stuff and his coaching. So check that out. But we did the American League Hall of Fame potential what ifs. Now we're going to move over to the National League. And you guys can definitely agree with me or disagree with me in the chat, but I did it by team. So let's get into it. This first guy, I think we all can kind of agree with. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the New York Mets, David Wright. 296 average, 242 career home runs, 970 career RBIs, 49 career WAR, 1,777 career hits. He debuted in 2004. Injuries started piling up in 2009. Concussion, stress fracture in his back, and the final and career-ending spinal stenosis. And unfortunately, we got a couple guys on this list with that same exact thing. David Wright, the biggest what if, and do you think he would make the Hall of Fame if he's an injury-free career?
I mean, I feel like David Wright was a Hall of Famer if he was healthy. I mean, he's already considered to be one of those kind of all-time Mets, given even the length of career that he had. But he was definitely on pace to be one of those guys who was, would have probably been on the Mets Mount Rushmore of players, and loved by fans. Everything he had everything.
Captain
Yeah,
America, baby. Captain
yep.
America. Yeah, even fans that weren't fans of the Mets love David Wright. Like that was the type of dude he was. Love it. Mike Reed says if he played 6 more years healthy, he probably gets in easily. Yeah, Wright and Johan Santana are my top 2 for this overall. Agree. We talked about Johan Santana on Sunday. Slam dunk. And he still should probably almost get in. You know, there are guys with injury shortened careers in the Hall of Fame, Sandy Koufax. Now, I'm not saying Johan Santana is Sandy Koufax before you all bite my head off. I'm not. But he had some stretches where Johan Santana was the best pitcher in the game. Disgusting. But
One of the best pitchers I ever watched.
oh yeah, easy, hands down. But yeah, David Wright for me is a slam dunk Hall of Famer if he gets 5 or 6 more years. He doesn't lose any of those years to injury for sure.
He was so good.
Yep. All right, greatest what if potential Hall of Fame, Ryan Howard from the Phillies. 258 career average, 382 career home runs, 1,475 career hits, almost 1,200 RBIs, Rookie of the Year, MVP, 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, and then the injuries. And get ready for this list. 2011, Achilles tear in the NLCS. 2012, broken right toe. 2013, multiple injuries, missed 82 games. 2014, left knee injury, missed 75 games. 2015, left knee injury again. He missed the last 17 games and then went into the offseason. So the knee was a recurring theme the rest of his career, lost his power. Is Ryan Howard a Hall of Famer if he has no injuries?
He's a tough one because like he played big chunks of seasons and then like would miss the last chunk of it. So he played in 2011 played 152 games and then obviously had the injury problem. In 2014 he played 153 games, 2015 he played 129, 2016 he played 112. Like he had some seasons where he played most of it. But the problem is like when he got hurt, he was like completely gone for stretches. And then the question always became like he never seemed to come back 100%. So it's like
Yeah.
it's hard to tell like what you really did get of him. But in terms of power hitters, he was one of the guys that had some of the most power of that era. I mean, he would just like sit back on the fastball and just flick it to left field, and it would be in the second deck.
Yeah.
But
Curtis.
I think for him, it's low batting average on a lot of hits, a lot of power,
Yeah.
terrible defender. He probably isn't a Hall of Famer, but I think he's a guy that you're talking about as somebody who was, close.
Yeah. Curtis, and he backs you up right here, Harrison. That batting average is the killer, though. He's just a slugger. That's all he was.
Ton of strikeouts, a lot of strikeouts. Could not catch the ball to save his life.
Yeah.
But he hit some absolute bombs.
John Temple says Howard is in the Hall of Light Tower Power, so he'd be borderline, maybe get in on his final vote guy. I agree with that. Kind of a, strung along the ballot for a few years type of guy, gets in on a week year. And Devish backs that up. If he was able to keep up the homer pace, more than likely. I mean, 500, unless you're on roids, is pretty much the automatic ticket to the Hall of Fame. And Mike Reed asked us that question. If he stayed healthy, does he get to 500? Not really sure. I mean, you're what, 118 short? I mean, possibly. He had some 45, 50 home run seasons in there.
But even in the injured seasons, like he would have, he had 23, 25. Like, he still would put up some numbers, but it definitely wasn't the same. I mean, he probably would have ended up at like, 450, 475. So like close, but not probably still not quite there.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't Howard show up one season and forget how to hit? That sticks in my head. I mean, I think he struggled a lot, but I mean, Chris Davis is the one that completely forgot how to hit. But
I mean, in 2016, Ryan Howard hit under 200 and just like flailed all season, and then he retired. He was like, "I'm done. I clearly got nothing left." That might be the season you're thinking of because he was a train wreck.
Yeah, Forrest said he sounds like Reggie Jackson. Yeah, the epitome of a slugger, no doubt.
Yep, I
Curtis
got
says
one
the
swing.
yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Curtis says the best Phillies first baseman is Dick Allen ever. Yeah, hard to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Atlanta Braves, Steve Avery. 11 seasons, 96 and 83 win loss record. A little high on the ERA here, 4.19. 980 Ks and 1,554 and two-thirds innings. 14 career WAR, also pretty low. One time All Star in 93. But it was after the 1993 postseason that injuries started to take over. And a lot of people are saying it's due to the heavy workload he had early in his career. He pulled a rib cage muscle and like an armpit rib cage muscle there, and it led to his change of pitching mechanics and just never could get it back. But you put Steve Avery in that Hall of Fame rotation with Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and all those guys. Is Steve Avery the biggest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Braves? And does he get in?
I don't. I look at Steve Avery's career. I mean, this guy who won 18 games twice in his first 3 seasons. He had an ERA around 3, and then it really started to creep up. It was 4s, 5s, 6s after that. Basically, he was out of baseball full time in '99 at the age of 29. I mean, he carried a mostly full workload even in those down years. So, I mean, I definitely think the pitching mechanics thing was real. He was never the same guy after '93. He definitely made changes and never got his stuff back. But I think that he's a guy, if you had seen a full slug of his career, he probably is a guy who's in that conversation. He probably is the guy who would have, 200 wins, 200 plus wins, and be in the slightly higher ERA, but he'd have the wins. Not a big strikeout guy, but enough, but definitely a guy that would have racked up wins on that team.
Yeah, I think the wins definitely would have been there. There wasn't such thing as a workload in the early 90s. So, I mean, you went out and you pitched every fifth day. If your arm is a little sore, like, I don't care, buddy. Like, you're still going 7, maybe 8 innings. If you're still getting outs, you're still going out there to pitch. Um, it's, yeah, I don't think he would make the Hall of Fame. Um, but for me, it was just the injuries and so early that it happened in his career that affected his mechanics for the rest of his career that it's hard. He's a hard one because the injuries happened so early in his career. And
Yep.
he, like you said, put together 2 or 3 great seasons before the injuries. 18 wins is damn good season.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's hard. I don't think
And
he quite has enough to get to Hall of Fame, but very good.
no, I mean, I think he would have been close. He would have been in the conversation.
Yep. Javi Lopez, a good one, Brandon. Felt like a better Brave to me. Yeah. He's a good what if for sure. Halla very good in his prime, did get overshadowed by the big three, so that hurt him as well. Yeah, agree. John Carter says for the Braves, it's Dion for me if he focused on baseball. Triples, steals, defense, and the average was coming the more he played. That could be a good one too.
Yeah.
I mean, I went with Bo Jackson for the Royals. I mean, easily could have gone Dion here for that too. So that's a great one.
Yeah, that's a very good point because he did. Dion had moments and
Yeah.
stretches where he looked really good,
Yeah.
but then he'd be back on the football field.
Yeah. Forrest says being the fourth guy in a rotation with Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, I'm surprised he didn't develop a mad case of the yips. Just trying to stay with those guys. Yeah.
That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for Rafael Furcal, felt like he should have been better as well. Agree. He came up with a lot.
Yeah, he's a guy I've always wondered about. I used to love for call. He'd do that slap bunt.
Oh
He'd
yeah.
take the bunt and then just like slap it down the throat of whoever's on the third base side.
Yeah.
It
Oh
was
yeah.
just mean.
Yep. He was a blast to watch for sure. All right. This one, I
Yeah.
hate this. I hate this one.
So much.
Yeah, but the greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Miami Marlins, Jose Fernandez. We're all familiar with his story. 38-17 win-loss record, 2.58 career ERA, 589 strikeouts in 471 innings. Rookie of the Year and All-Star in 2013, and then his life was cut short after the boating accident September of 2016. Hard to know what could have been, but did this kid have Hall of Fame potential?
What's amazing me is that feels like it happened forever ago, but in reality, that was 10 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
he'd be entering his age 33 season right now.
Yeah.
Um, still a dominant ace of somebody's staff. Um, yeah, I mean, he was unbelievably good. He had a bit of a bumpy injury track record,
He did.
kind
He
of
came off of
already.
Tommy John, right? I think.
Yeah, I mean, he'd already missed a lot of time with injuries, so it's like you got such a small sample set. But when he was right, I mean, his stuff was elite. He was up there with the best of them. I feel like if you got a healthy, 12 to 15 years out of this kid, yeah, this would have been a guy with 200 plus wins, probably a ERA somewhere around 3, and he would have been considered one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long stretch of that. So, I'd like to believe he would he would have had a shot.
Yeah, I agree. I think the talent was there. Undeniably, the talent to make the Hall was there. Now, I do have a little bit of reserve, right? Because, like you said, the injuries with him, and then look at Sandy Alcantara the last couple of years. Cy Young, absolute dominant season with the Marlins, and then we haven't been back since our injury, right? Like really Sandy Alcantara form. And I feel like Fernandez could have fallen into that as well.
Mhm.
Um, but saying that, Fernandez's stuff was even more electric than Alcantara's was in that Cy Young season, which is saying something because Alcantara was disgusting.
Yep.
But Fernandez was next level. Um, he was must see TV every time he was on the mound. Um, yeah, he had the talent to get there for sure. I'm with you. He would be
Yeah,
considered, and he'd still be dealing today, which is crazy.
yeah, he was like the new age version of Pedro. I mean,
Yes.
he could take a game over. He would battle. He had no fear, but he had a fun personality. Like I remember him catching the line drive from Tulo, and he's like, "You caught that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did." And they're like laughing
Yeah.
and smiling about it. Like, and he had a lot of moments on the field like that. Like he had that fun personality, but he'd also throw a ball into your ear flap if you
Right.
crossed him. Um,
Yeah.
he had that edge.
Yep. Yeah. Brandon says Fernandez is possibly biggest what if he was so electric. Captain's with us. Yes. Michael said if he had a full career, he'd be in. Brandon then falls back. He could have probably hit like Shohei because he could rake as well.
He
I
could.
forgot. Probably pitching for the Dodgers right now. Um, Greg, we're with you. He's like, wait,
Yeah.
what? That feels like it happened when I was in high school, not when my son was 2 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
2016, man. It wasn't that I mean,
Yeah,
10 years is a long time, but still, like, it was only 10 years ago. I mean,
yeah,
he would be entering his age 33 season right now,
yeah. Crazy.
still at the edge of his prime.
Yeah, probably leads the league multiple times in Ks, 1,000%. Didn't Chris Coughlin win Rookie of the Year for the Marlins and disappear? Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and this was the biggest thing that I think everybody loved Cap'n was you could see how much he loved the game every start, right? And then you could see the impact he had in the clubhouse, even in his first few seasons, because of what we saw the game after he passed. Everybody's wearing number 16 Fernandez jerseys. D. Gordon hits that mammoth moonshot in the first at bat of the game, that out of a home run, out of a hitter that doesn't hit home runs. I mean, the whole moment was just like eerie, but cool, and just it was baseball. Like that was all the feels that moment. It was sadness, happiness. It was everything. It was just a crazy moment to watch. Um, but man, and unfortunately, we've talked about it before. Fernandez's death set that organization back 25 years. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
just blew that
he
team up after that.
he was going to be the guy that they're going to build around, and then he wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, you had
And
Stanton still, you had Yelich, you had Real Muto, you had
yeah,
Justin Borer, you had Marcelo
that
Zuna, you
team
had all
was
those guys.
big time on the climb.
Yeah, yeah, brutal.
And the
Um,
sad part is, I think this is a cautionary tale for Major League Baseball about the appeal of some of these markets. You put a young kid, he was 23 when he passed. You put a young kid in Miami. He was the face of the franchise. He was the toast of the town. He's in the nightlife. He's in the social scene, and he got wrapped up in it and was doing a lot of stuff he shouldn't have been doing, and ultimately paid the biggest price for it. You put Jose Fernandez in Cleveland or Cincinnati, he's probably still pitching today because
yeah,
he wouldn't have gotten sucked into that scene. But a young Latin player in Miami without like a really strong veteran leader around him that could keep him on the straight and narrow because they were all kids back then together. Yelich and
right,
all they were all kids.
right. Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
great point.
that was a sad situation because he had so much potential and got absolutely sucked right into the social scene of Miami.
Yeah, I remember where I was when the alert came across my phone. I was in my men's league baseball game. I get the alert in the dugout, and I go, "No way!" And everybody goes, "What?" I was like, "Jose Fernandez just passed." I was like, it was crazy. It was like early morning. But yeah, it tough moment for
Yeah,
MLB for
that
sure.
that organization was about to go on a rocket ship ride
Yep,
when all those players matured together.
and possibly maintain that team for a while because they were so young. They didn't
Yep.
have any massive contracts there. So at that point, I mean, I'm sure Stanton got extended somewhere around that time. I don't know exactly when Stanton got extended, but
Yeah, it was shortly after, I'm
was
pretty
it
sure,
after?
because
Okay.
that's I think they pivoted and signed him to try to replace him or try to make him the face of the franchise.
Yeah. Crazy.
But sad, very sad story.
Yeah. Speaking of sad stories, greatest what if Hall of Fame
Oh, we're
potential
we're
for
gonna
the
see him at spring training, Nick. Don't worry. Sorry, didn't mean to
You're-
interrupt you, but I had to.
it's yeah, of course. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Washington Nationals, Steven Strasburg. 113 and 62 win loss record, 3.24 ERA, 1,723 Ks and 1,470 innings, 1.0 career whip. 2010 debuted and then put on the IL in July 2011 after only 5 starts. 2012 Nationals limited his innings on purpose to try to keep him off the IL. Remember they stopped him in August or something like that.
Yep.
2015 injuries limited inning count to only 127, which is a full season now. 2018 22 starts, 156 Ks and 130 innings. So kind of a little bit of a bounce back year. 2019, we all know what Strasburg did in 2019. Just goes ahead and wins the World Series MVP, puts the team on his back. It was 2017 they did that for him, but I know 2012 they also limited his innings. But 2020 left second game. He started with nerve issue in his pitching hand, and then the rest of his career was dealing with a thoracic outlet syndrome. And dude couldn't lift his right arm above his shoulder, tried to retire. The Nationals said yes to retire, and then they took it back, right? It was something weird like that.
Yeah, they were all he basically said he was going to retire. They're like, "Fine, sounds good." They're like planning out the ceremony. They're like, "No, you know what? We'll see you at spring training."
Yeah,
And
that's
everybody's
what it
like,
was.
we were like, "Wait, what? Like what? How do we get here?" You went from like talking about how you're going to honor him to be like, "Oh no, we'll see you at spring training."
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, this guy when he was coming up, all the fanfare behind him, everybody, I mean, he's throwing what 100 coming out of college. Everybody was like,
Oh,
this kid's ridiculous. I mean, he was wild. Um, and he was again another pitcher like you had to watch when he had a start if you could, because his highlights were incredible.
yep.
But
Um,
how the Nationals treated him going out the door is brutal and inexcusable, really.
Well, it is. It is, and also, but at the same time, like the Nationals spent like 5 years trying to baby him to get him back. Because he wasn't. You didn't see a full season of Steven Strasburg between 2010 and 2018. Every one of those seasons was either pitch count limited, or innings limited, or hurt. You finally saw basically, what he had in 2019. He basically left all out there. That was it.
Yeah.
He gave you everything that he had left, won that ring, and then was gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, the sample set is just so small because he was never right. He was never
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, Forrest said that one sucked because he kept showing flashes of brilliance all along. So you kept thinking, well, maybe, but he just couldn't keep it going. Right. And yeah, Curtis said it 2017. Mike said it here. Crazy. He just couldn't stay healthy in 2017. He wanted to keep pitching and try to win it all. And the Nationals were like, no, thanks. Like, we're shutting you down.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
guy wasn't right for a long time. Gave you everything he had, and then basically that's all he had left.
Yeah. When a pitcher can't even wave hello, you all have problems.
Well,
And that's the thing. And that's why he tried to retire. He's like, listen, I don't want to try to come back. I can't lift my right arm.
yeah. So
Crazy.
keep in mind, what ended his career is the same thing that Zach Wheeler's coming back from. They both have thoracic outlet syndrome,
Yeah.
and so just people are like, "Oh, Zach Wheeler's gonna be back, no problems." This this has taken many pitchers out of the game completely.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a the general consensus is there's not like a 100% return from TOS. You are kind of forever limited by it.
Yeah. Because you don't know when it's going to flare up.
You
And then
don't,
it
and you
could
don't
just,
know how well your body's going to respond to it. You don't know what level of strength you'll ever get back. Will you ever have the same ability you had before? And that's
right.
why I think Zach Wheeler was kind of so anxious to go and get surgery and treatment because he's planning to retire, and that could be this year if he can't get back out there.
Yeah. And Brandon, good point. Now Paul Skeens only pitches 6 innings, so he doesn't become the next Strasburg. 1,000%. You got to almost baby your superstars like that. So it's wild. But yeah, another incredible what if. But does he get into the Hall of Fame?
I mean, when you saw him right, which I don't even know how often that actually was, there were a few pitchers better. This stuff was elite. The command was elite. The dude was an absolute savage on the mound. I think he's probably a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I'm with you. With no injuries, I think he's there for sure. But yeah, he was fun to watch.
Oh, he really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, Matt Harvey, I think
Oh yeah.
might have been that same thing too. The Batman, for sure. All right. Greatest what if potential for the Chicago Cubs. I could have gone one of two ways with this,
Yeah.
but I went with Kerry Wood for Hall of Fame. 3.67 career ERA, 86.75 win-loss record, 63 saves, 1,582 Ks and 1,380 innings. Rookie of the year in 98. He made 14 trips to the disabled list, because that's what it was called back then, during his 13 seasons, including missing all of 1999 with Tommy John surgery. Is Kerry Wood a Hall of Famer if he stays off the disabled list?
I mean, I think so because basically you got nothing out of him after like 2003, which was only his fifth season. I mean, he was basically junk after that. Um, but in those 5 seasons, he missed 99. Obviously, hurt. He was one of the handful of most dominant guys in baseball.
Yeah.
So I think I think if you had gotten a full sample set of Kerry Wood and he wasn't basically a shell of himself by the age of 27, yeah, this is a guy that I think we're talking about as one of the best pitchers in Cubs history and a guy who's deserving of Hall of Fame consideration. I
And
mean,
he's got the
he only switched to being a closer because he couldn't give you any more innings. Like
right. Yeah,
he
and
couldn't do it.
he's got the milestone game. He's got the 20 strikeouts against
Yeah.
the Astros too. Like, he had the Hall of Fame resume, or potential Hall of Fame resume for sure. And I hear you guys. I almost did a split one with this, Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor. I mean, they were the same pitcher to me at that time coming up together, but I couldn't fit all of their stuff on the same slide. So that's why I just had to pick one. And I knew whatever one I picked, people were going to pick the other one. That's just how it works on social media and here. But I'm with you guys. Mark Pryor it's 1A, 1B, and you can pick the order because it's not wrong. Mark Pryor's the other what if Hall of Fame potential for the Cubs here. And I mean, you could also argue Sammy Sosa. What if steroids weren't blackballed like they are by everybody? Is he in? Yep. But I already know the answer to that. So
yeah, I mean, I would argue that of the two of them, Mark Pryor probably had the better stuff. But Kerry Wood was a better competitor. That dude was just a beast out there.
yeah. And Pryor only pitched 4 seasons.
5 seasons, and the last one was, basically not much.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy finishes third for the Cy Young in 2003. He's out of baseball by 2007.
Yeah. Yeah. He had the 20-game ball game. You knew he had potential to keep doing that sort of thing, which should have got him in. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, all of us have seen it, right? His movement on the pitches. We all watched WGN. Like, I mean, we all knew, everybody in the country was watching that start because it was like, hey, you got to tune in. You see what Kerry Wood's doing right now. And it was special. And he blew up. Like, eyeballs were on Kerry Wood as the next best thing for sure.
Yeah, I can still picture the breaking ball he threw for number 20. That was just was it Derek Bell that was K number 20? He just kind of like waves at it, and Kerry Wood's just like, yeah, and he spins.
Yeah, no chance. I mean,
gross. His stuff was gross.
Yeah, no chance at all. So yeah, I mean, I could have gone Mark Pryor. I chose Kerry Wood. It is what it is.
You had a bigger sample set with Kerry Wood. Like, you had a better sense of who he was.
Right. Yeah.
Mark Pryor looked great. I mean, he led the league in WAR in 2003, but
yeah,
you got like basically 3 full seasons out of Mark Pryor, and he was trash.
Yeah. Forrest says
and there was no like attempt to return for Mark Pryor. It was just like, I'm done, and he was gone.
Yeah, I'm good. Baseball History Dork says Ken Hubbs had 3 seasons with the Cubs and died at age 22, but he could have done great things. I don't know that name, but I will look it up after the show. So we're going to check that out for sure. Smooth Will, hang on to that thought. We will get to that in a moment for sure. Are you looking up Ken Hubbs right now, Harrison?
I am. It's hard because like you only have 2 seasons from him because his first season he had 28 plate appearances. But in 62 he hit 260 with 5 home runs, 49 RBIs, won the Rookie of the Year on a Gold Glove. 63 he was hit 235 with 8 and 47. Not really an offensive guy, more of a glove guy from the looks of it. But
yeah. Imagine Wood and Pryor healthy for a decade with the Cubs. No, I can't. Teams wouldn't want to go into Wrigley Field and try to hit them. It would have been disgusting.
No, and then along the way you would have picked up Zambrano, who could have been like, you're the third guy in that group,
and your third hitter.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Wood and Pryor. It looked like the Cubs were going to be set for a while until they weren't.
Yeah, and to have both of them go down hurts.
Brutal.
Like not just one. Like you lose both. Crazy. All right. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Cincinnati Reds. I think all of us can agree on this one. Eric Davis, 269 career average, 1,430 career hits, 282 career homers, 934 career RBIs, 349 stolen bases, 2-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slug, Clemente Award, played from 84 to 01, but never played more than 135 games in a single season. Lacerated kidney in 1990 that required surgery, along with off-season knee surgery. Battled colon cancer in 1997 and came back during treatments and hit game-winning home run in 1997 ALCS. Pretty ridiculous story here. A lot of crazy unlucky injuries and stuff to happen, is Eric Davis a Hall of Famer without these injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure. I mean, and we heard it from Skeeter Barnes, who basically said like he was different. Like Davis was different. You know, stealing bases from a standstill, taking extra bases nobody else could. The way the ball came off his bat, the way the ball came out of his hand, like he was just different.
Mhm.
Um, and like nobody else.
And when you hear a former major league player say that, or a major league player say that this guy is different, you listen
Yeah,
because these guys are in the highest leagues, and to say that this guy was even better than that, that it speaks volumes.
yeah, and
So
like
yeah, and so it's hands down Hall of Famer for sure. For me, and it's a slam dunk. Captain says hands down Hall of Famer, 1000%.
yeah, but I mean, we've seen him on TV. We've seen the highlights. Like we've seen what he looks like, and we think he looks like a different kind of player. But when a guy who's on the field says, "Oh yeah, like it was even more so than you saw," it to me tells me everything I need to know.
Yep. So yeah, really no discussion around this one. It's a slam dunk. Absolutely would have been.
It's such a shame. It's such a shame because
Yeah.
he was a monster.
Yeah. We would have seen Ronald Acuna like seasons out of him throughout his entire career.
Yep,
So crazy.
he was just so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is
And we're
that's a
with you,
great point
Forrest,
for us.
right? Yeah. Davis had some insane 162 game stretches, even if they were over 2 seasons. Yeah. Crazy ones. I mean, like the first 50-50 guy possibly, or like 40-70, or I mean, it was insane. 50-100. Like it was wild. He was so good.
Yeah, it just not. He was a one of one.
Yep. All right. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Milwaukee Brewers. Good old Prince Fielder. 283 career average, 1,645 career hits, 382 career OBP, 319 career home runs, same exact number as his dad, 1,028 career RBIs, played pretty much full seasons from '06 to 13, and then we had neck problems. It was debilitating, and it was C4, C5 disc herniation, um, and that led to him announcing his retirement in 2016. Does Prince Fielder make the Hall of Fame without that herniated disc?
I mean, I think so because really he hit all those home runs in what was basically 8 healthy seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 1 season with 2, 1 season with 3, 1 season with 8, 1 season with 23. Everything else was 25 or more over that 8 season stretch. He was in the top 5 or in the top 10 of MVP voting 4 times in 8 years. I mean, he was he was and but I was gonna say he's not I was gonna call him a slugger, but he's not really a slugger. Dude hit 283, 382 OBP with some power. He could run a little bit even at his size, which is shocking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's is like a first ballot guy? No, but does he get in? I think he does.
Yeah. John's right with you. And yeah, probably a 6, 7 votes guy. I agree. When I hear Prince Fielder, I just picture the home run derby of him just launching balls into the Kauffman Stadium fountains
Oh yeah.
during the home run derby. Love that. Um, so pretty cool. I'm with you. I think he does get in. I think he was a little bit better than his dad. I mean, very similar players. And again, another guy that we got some insight on Sunday because Skeeter got to play with Cecil. And he said Cecil wasn't your stereotypical power hitter. He was a guy that could hit the ball a long ways. But if you needed a single to the opposite field, Cecil provided it. And Prince Fielder was pretty much that same exact mold, just from the left side of the plate. So I'm with you. I think he gets in.
Yeah, I think Prince was the better player of the 2. I mean, he was more power, certainly more power. He did a lot more things. Cecil also played longer, which helps, but
Yeah.
Prince was at his peak one of the better hitters in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. Captain, he was a hitter, not a home run hitter. 1,000%.
Yeah, dude would just lace balls in the gap. He would take you to a 3-2 count and fight off pitches and then just slap something to left. Like
Yep.
he didn't have just one swing. Like he attacked every at bat to get a hit.
Yep. John Carter says, I think Prince makes it almost universally liked. Everyone but Ivicio Garcia, and a tremendous blue chip talent and more inside the park homers than Ricky Henderson, which is such a crazy stat. I love that.
It
But
really
yeah,
is.
I think he gets in for sure.
Was it Prince that hit the walk-off home run when he got to home plate? Like he jumped on the plate and everybody fell down. Like is that
Yeah,
Prince?
that was Prince. Yeah, for sure. All right. Greatest what if, maybe not Hall of Fame potential, but I want to kind of talk about this guy a little bit more because he's come up on our show the last few weeks a couple times. Rick Ankiel of the St. Louis Cardinals. So pitching, we got a 13-10 win-loss record, 3.90 career ERA, 269 Ks in 242 innings pitched. Then we get to the hitting stats, 240 average, 462 hits, 76 career homers, 251 RBIs. And here's kind of where the story kind of takes a turn. 2000, he gets the yips in the postseason. That we all know that story, insane. 2001, 2004, tried to fix control issues. 2005, he switches to the outfield, and then 2007, he debuts as a hitter with the Cardinals. There's a 7-year gap between MLB starts. So the story itself is the stuff of legend, and that was a quote that was given about Rick Ankiel. Maybe not necessarily Hall of Fame, but what if he just came up as a hitter? What if the yips never got to him? What does he look like?
Yeah, it's almost like which part of his career do you want to see more of? Like, do you want to see more of him as a pitcher or more of him as a hitter? Because he was a really great outfielder. He was a very good hitter. He also had a really good arm. For the little bit of time that he pitched, he was also quite good on the mound.
Right.
Is he a Hall of Famer? No, I don't think. I don't. He's probably not a Hall of Famer for either one of those. But he's definitely a guy that would have made some All-Star teams. Would have made an impact in the game if he'd been out there longer on for one or the other. But Hall of Famer, no, but definitely a guy who would have been a somebody who was in a lot of All-Star games, won some awards, and a guy that people would remember.
Yeah. Curtis, huh? Yeah, like I said, not necessarily Hall of Fame, but I wanted to talk about like it is a what if story. And this is the biggest what if, I think, for the Cardinals, to be completely honest, because I'm with you. I don't know what side of his career I would want to see more. I mean, his pitching was okay. I mean, the strikeouts were there. You would think that over time he would fine tune that and get it under control, right? Because he was young when he came up as the pitcher and threw
I mean,
gas.
he debuted at 19.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
he was the runner-up rookie of the year at 20.
Hmm. Yeah, and then I think almost the rookie of the year after that, and then the year after that, like Randy Rosarina, who's 5 years running. I think still eligible for rookie of the year, but
Yeah,
um,
that was only Rosarina that had a run that long, but
so crazy. I just don't understand that one. But um, yeah, I think Michael said it back here, Hall of Fame story, but not Hall of Fame stats. And agree. Like I'm completely with you guys. Um, the story is incredible, and the hall is full with incredible stories. And this is one of them. A 7-year gaps between MLB starts is wild. Talk about perseverance. Coming the yips is not a physical thing either. It's all in your head. So he had to get that fixed. And then he's like, you know what? I'm just switching to the outfield. That's it. And he did all right. I mean, 240 average, you're probably looking for something a little bit more than that, but had some pop, drove in some runs. I mean, what else can you ask for?
well, that's the thing. Like, I think Ankiel is a really interesting kind of what if scenario because it's what if as a pitcher, what if as a hitter. What if he was actually a true two-way player? Like, you can debate, like, where would you have wanted to see more of him? Because he showed signs he could be a very, very good pitcher. He also showed signs he could be a very, very good hitter, but he
Right.
didn't do either one of them long enough to really get settled in and build momentum and have a true prime of his career. But to have the ability to start off as a pitcher, and when that didn't work, pivot and come back as an outfielder, and again play at the major league level and at a high level is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the few stories of guys that were actually able to save their careers and pivot like that.
Yeah. No matter how long it took him, 7 years
Right.
is wild, but still really, really cool.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
nuts.
Vince Coleman, if his leg hadn't been run over by a tarp, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Forrest, absolutely Vince Coleman here too. All right. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Andrew McCutchen. Now, hang with me here before y'all start biting my head off. But 271 career average, 2,266 career hits, 332 career homers, 1152 career RBIs, 220 career stolen bases. So, not necessarily injury related, but what if Kutch spent his entire career in Pittsburgh? Would he have a bigger case to make the Hall than he does now?
Ugh. Um, I mean, he had a stretch of 4 years where he was one of the handful of best guys in baseball, and it wasn't close.
Yeah.
I don't I mean, I definitely when he went to San Fran and the Yankees and Phillies, like, that did him no favors. He
No.
didn't have good seasons there. He got kind of weird playing time there. Um, I'd like to believe he stayed in Pittsburgh, you would have seen better numbers out of him because he would have gotten everyday protection or everyday at bats, maybe not a lot of protection in the lineup, but he didn't really need it because he wasn't, like a big slugger. Like, he was a guy that took what was thrown to him, hit a lot of balls in the gaps. So, I think his career would have been better if he had just stayed in Pittsburgh because I don't think the trips other places helped. And he's probably closer to a Hall of Fame bid, but you look at his career line, like, those are really good numbers in every category.
Mhm.
He's just short in everything, but he's not that far off.
No, I'm with you. And now I put McCutcheon kind of in that Evan Longoria category that,
Yeah.
we talked about it on Sunday. If he stays with the Rays, does he come out as the first Hall of Famer for the Rays? And no, I don't think he has the stats to get there. But when you think of the Tampa Bay Rays in the last 20 years, it's Evan Longoria. You think of the Pirates in the last 20 years, it's Andrew McCutcheon.
Yep.
I think still, even with him bouncing around, but I think that is part of the Hall of Fame story now. Like, if you can stay on one team for your entire career, I think writers like that. I mean, maybe I'm done trying to figure out what writers think, so maybe they don't care. But I think in a day and age where players are bouncing around all over the place like pinballs, and you have a guy that is in one organization for his entire career, I think that gives him a little bit of a boost. Now, saying giving Kutch a little bit of a boost, I still don't think he quite has enough to get in the Hall. Like you said, like great stats across the board, but nothing stands out.
Right.
Just very steady and incredible all around player his entire career. But he has a bigger case to make the Hall, but it's still short.
Yep. Yeah. Totally
So,
agree. I mean, at his peak, he had a 4 or 5-year run where he was one of the handful of best guys in the game. Outside of that, he was always just pretty good.
yeah. Yeah, the ambassador of the Pirates still is,
Yep.
for sure. Brandon says Pirates has to be Barry Bonds. What if the steroids doesn't get in his body? And that's a great what if.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if Barry hadn't tripped and fallen on all those needles, what would have happened?
Yeah,
They
man.
snuck in.
Yeah, just
He was
30,
a
30
victim he
seasons
was
for
a
your
victim of steroids.
I know, right? I just 30, 30 seasons for your entire career. Imagine that.
I know. But that's
Tough.
the thing. Like the part that kills me with Barry Bonds is that he was already one of the best guys in baseball. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Like that just wasn't enough. You just had to
Nope.
push it. And
Nope.
I think that Brandon's being a little bit kind of tongue in cheek. What if the steroids don't get into his body?
But it's a thing.
But it's a thing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Barry chose to go down that path. He didn't need to. He was already
Yeah.
an elite ball player, but that wasn't enough.
Yeah. And John, this is a good point. If you're going to reward him for being on a shit team, then so would King Felix be a Hall of Famer. And I, I'm with you. I think Felix Hernandez should be. I really do. Like, it's not his fault. A win is not a pitching stat. It really isn't. Wins are the most meaningless stat, and I think across the board for pitchers. I can't think of another one. I mean, losses not so much because I mean, yes, you can lose a heartbreak game, but if you give up a ton of runs, you get a loss. That's it. But wins are a team stat too. Like I think Felix should be in, but that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of those guys that just didn't play long enough. And I do wonder. Like, I mean, I know that in 2020 he said I'm all set. And he opted out of playing during the COVID-19 season, and that was it for him. But I mean, he was such a shell of himself from
At
like
that point,
30 on. Like
yeah,
he turned 30 and then completely lost it,
yeah, yeah,
which is sad because there was a 6 or 7 year stretch in there where he was absolutely one of the best in the game. Period.
yeah. Brandon, this is a fair point. It's only a meaningless stat when you talk guys without a lot of wins, and that's fair. Um, I
Yeah,
got nothing. Yeah, you win. You win. I get it
yeah.
for
No,
sure.
nobody questions his dominance. I mean,
No.
but he was on generally bad teams, and that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yep. Terrible. All right. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the San Francisco Giants, Tim Lincecum. 110 and 89 win loss record, 3.74 career ERA, 1,736 Ks and 1,682 innings, 1.2 career whip, 19.5 career WAR, 2 Cy Youngs, 4-time All-Stars, three World Series, 2 no-hitters, at least 32 starts from '08 to 14, and then 2015 was the start of the injuries, labrum and hip, and no wonder he had labrum and hip injuries with his delivery. But when this dude came up and was dealing like he was, there was no doubt that he was on the track for the Hall.
Yeah, Lincecum's tough because it was really just 2 seasons. He wins. He comes up as a rookie and has a good start. Then goes wins back to back Cy Young awards. Then has 2 okay seasons, and then was garbage after that, and then gone.
Mhm.
It was such a small window of time you got to see him at his peak. It was really, I mean, call it a 4 year stretch. Actually like full time Tim Lincecum, and then after that, he was either a shell of himself or hurt.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
my goodness, was he good?
yeah, and I get the part of like not changing a pitcher's delivery because that's what got him to the show,
Yep.
right? The way Lincecum pitched got him to the big league. So I get not messing with it, but man, oh man, you can't tell me the way he pitched and you were looking at him that you were like, dude, you're gonna have some issues here real quick if we don't try to fix something here. And that's what it is. All the stress on the hip and the labrum, done. And you don't come back from a torn labrum. It's you're not the same. I'm sorry, you're not.
Yep. Well,
Um,
and what's sad too is he's got the 3 World Series rings, but only one of them did he really contribute to. That was in 2010.
yeah.
2012, he was terrible. He was 10 and 15 with a 5+ ERA. 2014, he was 12 and 9 with a 4.74, missed a chunk of the year. Um, again, like not stellar.
So
His stuff was just so obscene, and honestly, like a lot of it was that windup. Like how where the hell was the ball coming from?
Right. So if he has a full career, Harrison, what are your thoughts on that? Does he make it?
I mean, based on how he started, it's kind of hard to think a guy who won back-to-back Cy Youngs in years 2 and 3 of his career, before he's 25 years old, doesn't go on to have a hell of a career. I think this is a guy that easily, easily wins, 225 games, if not more. You're talking about a guy who's going to have a 3 or sub 3 ERA. He had a 3.74 even with the bad seasons that he had because he was that good early on. I think this is a guy that's in a conversation to be a Hall of Famer, but also potentially one of those guys who could have been on the Mount Rushmore of the Giants.
Yeah. Which is probably one of the best Mount Rushmores in baseball that to
It's a
try
good
to
one.
crack, but
Yeah, it's a good one. There's a few
yeah,
guys that played there that were all right.
just a couple, not too many, but yeah. Brandon says he was another electric arm, but then Matt Cain was a super solid pitcher too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Cain was good. And Curtis says 2008, 2011, he was electric. Just ice your arms, son. Yeah, I mean, he was fun to watch. Again, didn't get to see a ton of him being on the West Coast, but I remember watching some highlight reels of him on Sports Center and all that stuff, and it would just be like Lincecum, 14 Ks, and nobody touches him, and it's just like it was wild. But yeah, I think I'm with you. I think he would get to the Hall on a full career, injury free.
I mean, this is a guy who was 10 plus Ks per 9
Mm-hmm.
for his Cy Young years. Like, he made a lot of really good hitters look really foolish.
Yeah, for sure. Nasty stuff. All right. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Brandon Webb. Only pitched 7 seasons, 87 62 win loss record, 3.27 ERA, 1,065 Ks in 1,300 innings, 31 career WAR, Cy Young in 2006, finished second in Cy Young in 2007 and 2008. 2009 completely derailed his career with a shoulder injury. His last pitch was thrown in 2009, but after many attempts to come back, he eventually retired in 2013. So, would Brandon Webb be the greatest what if in Arizona Diamondbacks history?
I loved Brandon Webb, a guy that got off to a really good start, then had a kind of a rocky couple years, and then was unbelievably good for 3 years, and then just disappeared. What a wild career path.
Not Tony Clark for the Diamondbacks
Oh,
too
jeez,
soon?
no. No.
Yeah, I mean, to finish in the top 2 in Cy Youngs of 3 years in a row, it's crazy. Like, it showed you all the potential he had, and then bang, again, blew out a shoulder. That's it, done.
I mean, he wins 22 games in 2008, finishes second in the Cy Young Award, and then literally threw 4 innings in 2009, career's over.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
That was it. It's cruel. It's just cruel to see a guy that literally had that stretch of 3 years, and then he only throws 4 more innings his whole career.
Yeah. Yeah. Brutal.
I mean,
This one.
I think the only thing working against Brandon Webb is that he was a late bloomer. He didn't come
Yeah.
up till he was 24. It took him a few years to figure out he was 27 when he hit his peak. Is he a Hall of Famer? Probably not. But he was one of those guys who's going to be a perennial All-Star, staff ace, and a guy who's going to make a big difference to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he would have made a case for it for sure. But I think
Yep.
I'm with you. I think he's a little bit short just because of his age, just not reaching those milestones for the Hall. But yeah, he was easily a slam dunk for me for the Diamondbacks here.
Yeah. At least I loved him. That sinker was just absolutely devastating.
Mm-hmm. So good. All right, now this one, bear with me on this one. I didn't want to go way back in the archives because history's not really my thing. But greatest what if, maybe not Hall of Fame potential, but could have been Hall of Fame potential for the Dodgers, Walker Buehler. 8 seasons, 57 and 29 win-loss record so far, 846 Ks and 839 and two-thirds innings, 3.52 ERA, two-time All-Star, and then the injuries with him. 2018 rib cage injury, 2022 Tommy John missed all of 23, 2024 hip injury, made 16 starts, 2025 shoulder bursitis. Are we looking at Walker Buehler much differently if he doesn't get hurt early in his career?
Yeah, I mean, if Bueller doesn't have all the injuries, I think he is one of those guys who is an ace of somebody's staff. Probably still at the Dodgers, but he's an ace of a staff somewhere, a perennial all-star, a guy who's in the top 10 in Cy Young voting pretty much every season, um, and wins a lot of games. I mean, he was projecting to be one of those guys who was going to be the anchor of somebody's staff, and then has just never been able to stay healthy long enough to show it. I mean, this in 2021, he was 16-4 with a
Yeah.
2.47 ERA.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like when he came up the first 2 or 3 years, he was unreal. No one could touch him, no one could figure him out. And he was on track to be one of the most dominant pitchers in the game. And then after that first injury, like forget it. We lost some velocity. We couldn't get back. We were out. We missed huge chunks of time. I think his career path looks a lot different. Now, does he get to the Hall of Fame? I don't know. This one's really hard to know if he doesn't get hurt, if injuries weren't a thing. And there's probably better Dodgers candidates, but I thought this was relevant since he, just signed with the Padres. So, and he's still trying to hang on. But if he doesn't get hurt, does his career look different?
Way different. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
guy that is he's signed a huge contract somewhere, and he's the ace of a staff,
Yeah.
and a guy you don't want to see.
Yeah. Brandon, this is a good one. I always thought
Oh yeah.
Raul Mondesi was going to be like Vlad Guerrero.
Same
Yasiel Puig.
I was just say same with Puig.
Yeah.
Puig was one of those guys who just had moments just showed incredible ability,
Yeah.
and then also showed incredible inconsistency and lack of awareness.
Yep. Yeah, Doggy, we're with you.
Yeah.
Garbage on the Sox.
Terrible.
Garbage.
He was awful.
Absolutely horrendous. So I agree. All right. Greatest what if Hall of Fame potential Colorado Rockies, Chris Bryant. 273 career average, 1,608 career hits, 184 career homers, 548 career RBIs. We have an MVP. We have the Rookie of the Year. We have four-time All-Star. 2022, we signed with Colorado. Here we go. 2022, plantar fasciitis, missed 120 games. 2023, finger lumbar degeneration disease, missed 82 games. 2024, back again, missed 125 games. And then 2025, back, missed 151 games. And 2026, we're already starting on the 60-day IL. Chris Bryant, a Hall of Famer without the degenerative back disease.
I mean, I feel like he's got a shot. I mean, this is a guy that came up and won the Rookie of the Year, followed that up with an MVP, and then had an arguably even better year the year after, and finished seventh in the MVP voting. And then the injury started to show up. 2018, he played 102 games. 2019, he played 147, was back to the All-Star game. 2020, he played 34 games. 2021, he plays 144 and gets traded to the Giants, and then just that's it. And then he just disappears after that. This is a guy that at 29 was basically out of baseball. I mean, he's played 100 and what is that? 120, 100 and he's played basically the equivalent to a season with the Rockies.
Yeah.
Over the span of 4 years, but he basically was out of baseball at 29.
Troy Tulowitzki is another great one. A couple of you guys in the chat. I mean, yeah, I definitely gave Troy Tulowitzki a little bit of consideration here.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been talking about Chris Bryant. Maybe we should have talked about Tulo, because I don't think we have really talked about Tulo much on this podcast, to be completely honest.
No,
that's a great one. Tulo was incredible. Loved watching him. And he could be one of the biggest what ifs, especially in Rockies history for sure.
Well,
Um,
and his career follows the exact same path as Chris Bryant's. Like
yeah,
incredible seasons, and then at age 29, everything just stops. Um, and he's a shell of himself forevermore after that, and
yeah,
then gone shortly thereafter.
yep. Carlos Gonzalez, another one. A couple people in the chat with that one. So
Yeah,
Brandon and Curtis both say Cargo because Brian is a Cub, not Rockies, and
yeah.
that's
Tulo,
fair.
Tulo, and Chris Bryant are like the same player. Um, the difference is Chris Bryant signed the huge contract, which is why he gets so much attention.
Yeah.
Where Tulo did, but it wasn't to the same extent.
Yeah, see, I ultimately went Bryant here, and it's because of the Coors effect, right? He doesn't necessarily have the numbers coming into Colorado, but if you give him back those amount of games and his numbers are inflated, does he get a Hall of Fame bid?
I mean, he could very well have made a run at it. And I think the other part of it too is that it's the greatest what if for the Rockies in the sense like this is the guy that was going to come and change this organization.
Yes.
And now you've been saddled with this big contract for a guy that can't get on the field. And honestly, this is not like a Rendon situation where it's like I don't even want to play. Like Chris Bryant wants to play. He's doing everything he can to play. He just can't.
Right.
He's not
Yeah.
trying to hide. He's not trying to not play. He just can't do it.
Yeah. John Temple says it right here. This is
Yeah,
tough to see. Guy wants to play and can't. Body says no. And yeah,
it,
I agree.
it sucks because he wants to be out there and he's trying everything he can to get out there. He just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, could say the same thing if any Rockies pitcher didn't pitch in Colorado, and that's I mean fair. Um, wait, is Arenado a shoe-in for the Hall? I think so. I think he is.
I
Was it
mean,
six straight seasons of 30 and 100, 10 Gold Gloves? I I think Arenado's a shoe-in. I
and
don't.
a guy who's sitting at 350 career home runs. I mean, I feel like
Yeah, yeah,
Arenado's got 1,184 RBIs, 353 home runs, 10 Gold Gloves, 6 Platinum Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers, 8 All Stars.
yeah. I think he's a slam
Yeah,
dunk.
I think it'd be really hard. What was this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? He was in the top 10 MVP voting 6 of 8 years. I mean, he was like elite of elite. I think Arenado is he a shoe in? No, but is he going to make the Hall of Fame? I would say most likely yes.
See, I disagree with you. I think he's an absolute shoe-in. The best defender I've seen in my lifetime. And for a pretty significant stretch of time at third base. Now, I've seen some other great defenders, don't get me wrong. I'm saying at third base in my lifetime, I haven't seen anybody better than Nolan Arenado. And for that
Yeah,
amount of time, like I said. And
I
to
don't
top it
believe
off with 350 to possibly 400 if he's done, there's no doubt. First ballot, he's in.
anybody's a shoe in with this Hall of Fame committee anymore.
That's
I
fair.
honestly
That
don't. I mean,
that's
he,
fair.
his not. I mean, you got Omar Vizquel still out there with what 12 Gold Gloves and way more
But
hits.
he
You've got
but he's got off the field stuff. That's the thing with
he
him.
does. It took Andrew Jones how many tries to get in? Like I don't. To me, there's
Well,
no shoe ins anymore.
that's
It's
fair.
I don't believe anything.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But he should. Lone
Yeah,
Arenado should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah. All right. And the last one I got, you guys are gonna love this one. Fernando Tatis Jr., greatest what if Hall of Fame potential. 277 career average, 720 career hits, 152 career home runs, only 393 RBIs, which I thought was low, but 27.2 career WAR. 2022 motorcycle accident broke his wrist, which then led to PED suspension. Does Fernando Tatis Jr. still have a chance at the Hall of Fame?
I'm going to say yes because they're going to view the PEDs as related to his rehab as he was trying to get his body back in shape. And they're going to say he was tested when he was playing and he never popped a positive test. So this has to be related to the injury. and he got punished for it too. So therefore, like it's like it didn't happen. That just seems to be the way they work. So I'm gonna say he still has a chance. They're not gonna hold that against him.
If they let him in with a known PED deduction or knock on his record, I man, what a shitstorm that will cause.
It will be awesome.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm here for it. I don't think he does. Now, if somehow in some crazy stretch that they start letting in PED guys before he retires and is eligible for the Hall, then maybe. But I don't think he's going to end up with the numbers to get there to begin with. Um,
Well,
so I
yes.
I don't think he quite gets in there. Um, I just thought this would be an interesting topic to bring up because of the PED suspension and the aura that is Fernando Tatis Jr. and just to get people's thoughts on if he does put up a Hall of Fame career, does he get in? Does he still have a chance?
Yeah, I think they're not gonna hold that PED suspension against them because they can't connect it to playing to actual, like, time on the field, and I think we're beyond that now, like, it's okay, like, you got punished, so therefore you served your time, it's fine that you did it.
Yeah. John Carter, this is a good one. What if Adrian Gonzalez didn't play his best years in San Diego and that anti-hitters ballpark?
Oof.
That that's a great one.
Yeah,
Gonzalez
it
was
is.
he was good. Very good. Yep. Brandon says he is the epitome of the Padres, all the potential, but hasn't lived up to the hype. Um, he's in the hall of being a dumbass riding motorcycles and getting
I mean,
messed up in the suspension. Yeah.
he is, for sure.
And Mike, this could open the door for the rest of the steroid guys to get in after him, which is a crazy thing to think about. But if he gets in, then the other guys are going to be like, "Well, wait, what about me? Like he got hit. I'm no different." But I see your point where they could almost be like, "Well, you guys were taking it for recreational sport. He was taking it to try to heal faster to come back."
Yeah, and he got punished
Maybe.
for it, you guys didn't get punished for it, he sat out for it. I mean, I think the whole belief around PEDs is different because they are testing for it. When they get caught, they get punished. Back then, it was the Wild West.
Yeah. And that's the thing, John. I don't know. If Tatis gets in, then Cano, then the rest does Manny because he served his suspensions.
Yeah, they're not
I
they're not
I
gonna
don't know.
lump him into the same.
Yeah.
Fernando's gonna get a pass because he got punished.
Well, so did Ramirez.
Yeah, but not until later. Everybody believes he did it while he was in his prime, where he didn't get punished for it.
Yeah. But and that
That
and this and
those
this is
those
it.
90s, 2000s PED guys they're never getting in.
Well, I mean, fair. John says, I'm over it. Guys been over it. Owners, players, fans knew it. Let them in. And we're all with you, 1000%. So but
Yep.
yeah, so that was oh, sorry, I was reading. Sorry, Doggy says it's interesting how big the Hall of Fame is in baseball, but in other sports, no one really cares.
It
That's
is kinda
also
funny.
fair. Yeah, NFL's got murderers in it, and they don't take them out. So crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was. I hope you guys liked that kind of two-show segment there. I had fun putting them together, and looking up the stats and trying to figure out guys. I know you guys disagreed with me on some, and that's completely fair. That's why we have, the chat. But absolutely love these. I
But you're
am
all wrong.
facts. So Harrison and I are trying to put these out on YouTube as like little like 8 to 10 minute videos for each division. Um, and you'll hear my beautiful voiceover, and we're gonna splice some videos of each of the clips too. So hopefully we'll get that out on YouTube here in the next couple of weeks. We're still working on that. So appreciate that. Hope you guys are strapped in for trivia tonight because here we go. I had a comment on, I can't even remember which post it was, but they just started going off on Chris Bermanisms. And I go, I am making that into a trivia segment. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to flash up a picture, and you have to tell me the full Chris Bermanism. So it's the player, the nickname, or the saying that he used with the player, and the last name, or whoever. You got to tell me the whole phrase. So I had a blast putting these together. I hope you all got them. Harrison went through them real quick. So here we go. Here is the first one. What is this full Chris Bermanism?
Absolute classic.
Yes, this one was easy to put together. So hopefully this one's a easy one to get right away for a first one.
I mean, we
Kind
haven't had
of,
time to process, but
yeah, because I also like you can't really tell who he is if you cover his eyes. Maybe that's the tough part.
that is true.
Yes, there it is, John Carter. It is Walt Three Blind Weiss for sure. Yes, nice. Walt Three Blind Weiss. So that's exactly how it will work. So I hope you guys I feel like I'm getting Rick rolled right now. Oh god, man. All right, here's the next one. What is this full Chris Bermanism? So this one might be a little bit tougher. You only got a face of the baseball player. Also got to know who's playing the guitar. But when you get
This
it,
is
you'll
a
get
good
it.
one.
Of course, John Carter is going to get everything.
Man, such sour grapes in the chat.
Yeah, it took Harrison a minute to get this one too, but then he was like, "Oh yeah, I got it."
Yeah, I got hung up on the artist and I set myself down the wrong path.
Yep. Yep, you're on the right track, John. But who would the player be? So John Temple says Purple Rain. So what would the full Chris Bermanism be? There it is. Tim Purple Rains is absolutely correct. Nice job. Curtis got it. Brandon got it. Nice job. And John, I'll give it to you. You helped the chat there. The player formerly known as, yes,
Yeah.
Tim Purple
John
Rains.
John led the way there. He broke the ice.
Yeah, love it. All right. What is this full Chris Bermanism? And this player you probably know in a different uniform other than the Mets, but hopefully you guys can tell who it is. The old Daniel Boone Coon cap.
I mean, I wanted to call him Davy Crockett when I first saw the picture. I'm like, nope, that's not the right path.
No, definitely not.
These are good though.
Yeah, they're fun. They're a little bit different than the typical trivia we do. So
Yeah. So I think that's what makes them fun is that they are just so different.
oh, Tim Raines of Casimir. Yeah, a little Game of Thrones reference. I love that. Roberto,
I've got no
remember
idea what
the
he's talking about.
yeah, Roberto, remember the Alomar is absolutely correct. Nice job, John Carter. John Temple, I'll give it to you. Robbie Alomar, I'll give it to you. All right, next one. What is this full Chris Bermanism? And I'll give you a hint. The drink is the wrong flavor than what the Bermanism usually is, but yeah, nice job, dog. You got it. Remember the Alomar? Yep.
Nailed it.
This one I think might be one of the easier ones for sure. Although it's strawberry and not this flavor, but
Somebody actually mentioned this one of the last shows.
yep. Curtis, close. Yo, bartender, Java needs a refill. Nope. Yes, Frank Tanana Daiquiri is correct. Nice job. Frank Tanana Daiquiri. John Carter sweeping it. Nice job. Helping us out, helping us move along here. All right. Next one. What is this full Chris Bermanism? This one's a little bit of a play on words, if you will, but this is a cool one.
This is one I actually had forgotten.
Yeah.
Tanana splits.
I like that.
And I appreciate any reference to Joe Boo ever.
Yeah, right. Close, Mike Reed. He is the professor, but it's a Bermanism, so it's got to be like a pun, like a bad pun. Mike, the nutty Professor Maddox,
What
close, but not
subject is
quite.
on the board?
Nope, not that one either, Brandon. Close.
What?
I don't know how you got that out of our picture, but
What subject is on the board? And then when you say it out loud, you'll be like, "Oh, right."
yeah. Like not as specific.
Why are you making this so complicated, John?
There it is, doggy. It is mathematics. There it is. It is nice job, doggy. Yes. Greg mathematics. Get it? Mathematics. No. Okay. Over their heads. They got it. Nice job, doggy. Nice work.
I'll be here all week. Tip your waitress.
Next one. What is this full Chris Bermanism? Take a look.
This one might be my favorite.
This one's pretty awesome.
John Temple pre-cal. I was way off. Swimmy, swammy, swammy. Check the bag. Oh, Samsonite. I was way off.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, I completely forgot about this one until I was looking at it. Yeah, there you go. Mike Pepperoni Piazza is correct. Nice job, John Carter. Mike.
Yeah, we were going through these after the show last week or last show, and I was like, Pepperoni Piazza. We're like, oh yeah,
yep, for sure.
Good one.
Yep. All right. Yep, there you go, Curtis. Nice job. Captain just missed it up. I'll give it to you. All right, here's the next one. What is this full Chris Bermanism? This one might be a little bit tougher if you don't know what this TV sitcom is.
Brandon, I don't remember these at all. I mean, it's been a while since Chris Berman was prominent around baseball.
It is Growing Pains, John, but there it is. It's the full. Brandon got it. Harold Growing Baines is the Chris Bermanism. Nice job, Brandon. There we go. John Carter got it. Oh, there we go. John got it as right after. Nice job, fellas. All right. What is this full Chris Bermanism?
This is a fun one. I always like this one.
Yeah, this is a good one too. There's so many. The list was so long when I was looking through it. I was like, dang.
I kind of forgot how long Berman was involved with baseball. I mean,
yeah.
Really, it was for most of my life, ESPN did baseball like sparingly, but earlier on they did a lot of baseball.
Yeah. Well, they always had like, was it Wednesday night baseball or Tuesday night baseball, something like
Wednesday
that.
night and Sunday night, and then they always did the home run derby because Berman was so good on the home run derby.
Yeah. I mean, Todd Gates of Helton, it's close enough, but yeah. The actual Bermanism was Todd Highway to Helton. So nice job, Brandon. Nice job, John. Todd, Highway to Helton. And the last one I got. What is this full Chris Bermanism?
Such a good one. He looks so small in that chair.
I couldn't figure out how to make him look like he was sitting in there. So that's about as close as I could get.
Looks like a kid at the movies. It's perfect.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Morgan and John Miller they made Sunday Night Baseball
Yeah.
worth watching.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they had Wednesday night at some point too, because I had like a Super Nintendo game that was like Wednesday night baseball or
Yeah,
something.
they did
like
Wednesday and Sunday for a long time.
Yeah. Anybody know this one? Yes, Doc Gooden Plenty. Good. Yes, nice job, fellas. Doc Gooden Plenty. Nice work. Yep. So thought those were pretty fun to kind of throw around. They were fun to kind of put together, but and a little bit different than what we usually do. So hope y'all liked them. But anywho, I got nothing else. Chat, you can think of some stuff to bring up if you want. And Harrison, do you have anything for us?
I do. So I'm going to start with we're talking, MLBPA and lockout stuff. So I'm going to go right into that. So Chris Bassett came out today. He's one of the 8 players that's on the executive subcommittee for the Players Association. So he's one of the players with the loudest voices at the table. And his whole stance is the salary cap is not an issue. Like if you look at every major sport that has a salary cap, we have the best parity of any of them. Suppressing salaries across the league so owners can make more money is not the answer for us. He's of the belief that the CBA needs to take the salary cap off the table, focus on helping the teams that are in lesser positions figure how to make things a little bit easier so they can actually spend more and compete. But he sees it as we're not going to fix the top of the financial ladder. We're going to go fix the bottom of it, and that's the solution for baseball.
I mean, I think that's a little bit of a biased opinion, but he's also not wrong. If that makes sense, any sense at all. I kind of contradicted myself, but not really at the same time. Like, I agree. The bottom's broken, right? We were talking about it. What is it? I know, like the Colorado Rockies owner is only worth 700 million or something like that. But like, can he realistically keep paying in the red every year for the Rockies? Like, I don't have their books. I don't know how much money he's actually making, but the Dodgers are mostly always going to be in the green, right? These higher market franchises are most of the time going to be in the green. So they're profiting. They're doing well. They're not complaining. And if they aren't in the green, they're winning. So they don't mind it, right?
Yep.
It's the Pirates, it's the Marlins, it's the Rockies that are in the red and they're losing and they can't do anything to get out of it because they don't have the money to do so. Now, say what you will, part of that is by choice, some of it is they can't. So I'm with him that the bottom definitely needs to be fixed, right? And I might even say that it needs to get fixed before the top does. But let's be real, both sides of this needs to be fixed.
Yep.
You got to squeeze it in somehow. You can't have the top just keep astronomically spending while the bottom's still sitting right here because they can't get up there.
Yep. And I think the parity argument becomes a tough one because he goes on to say his quote is, "If I tell you in 25 years the Dodgers will go to 10 World Series and win 7 of them, is that an issue?" He said, "Because that's the New England Patriots. The Chiefs have been to 6 or 7 Super Bowls. The Philadelphia Eagles have been to 4 or 5. The parity in our sport is better than any other sport." And I think that's a lazy argument because what you're missing is the fact that the Patriots got there because they drafted Tom Brady, who became the greatest quarterback ever, who paired with the greatest coach ever to build a dynasty. But they built that dynasty off of being frugal and cheap. Tom Brady every year took less than market value to make that team more competitive.
Right.
Every year they went out and found guys off the scrap heap to make that team good. They had a system that worked and they could just keep plugging pieces in. Same with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have built their entire dynasty around Patrick Mahomes. But that's a game where one person so dominates the game that if you hit on just that one, you're okay.
Yeah.
And I think they miss the fact that like the structure of those other sports allows you to be good one time, in one position, and you can be good forever. And
Hmm.
that's what they're missing. Those teams were doing it by restructuring contracts and taking less money and finding cheap players. Like they didn't do it by spending. Like they didn't go buy any Super Bowls. They had to build it from within.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. So his point is we'll make changes to try that to try to help the so-called bottom teams, but a salary cap is suppressing salaries and taking from players trying to help the so-called bottom teams spend more is not the answer. Because it won't make the league more competitive, and we have proof that every single league that has a salary cap has less parity than ours. So that's kind of a glimpse into how at least some of the higher up players at the MLBPA are thinking.
But said this I've said this for ever since baseball's been around, right? Baseball, the game itself, baseball, on a fundamental level, has way more parity than any of the other sports, right? More than hockey, more than basketball, more than football. There are way more elements in baseball
Yep.
that can be fluky, that can just happen, that don't happen in the other sports, right? It's a
Yep.
bad hop off a pebble, winning run scores, game over. Next time it's not. Like baseball at a fundamental level itself is fluky.
Yep.
So
100%.
that's so it's automatically going to have parity because of that reason.
Yeah, it's more players that have a bigger impact versus like the NBA. You can win with one or two good players.
Yeah, you spread the
NFL,
floor.
yeah, NFL, you can win with one good player. Like if you've got the best quarterback in the league, you're in really good shape.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't take as much to have success in those leagues. You may have, the NFL's got 53 guys on the roster, but only about 5 of them really matter to the outcome of how your team does.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
But so on the flip side of this, an article came out today in the New York Post that MLB owners have funded a war chest of about $75 million per team to provide them a financial buffer in preparation for missing games. So MLB owners are already funding a reserve account planning to miss games because
Mm.
the latest messaging from them has been it's salary cap or bust. Like we're not stopping. And we're prepared to put our own money on the table to float ourselves as long as it takes to fight this fight.
Mm, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a long one. I just we all know it. If this is any shorter than a full season that we're gonna miss, I will be shocked.
Yep.
I think a lot of baseball fans will be shocked. There's no way.
Yep. So at the same time, Chris Bassett's saying, we're not going to go down that road. We're going to fix it from the other side. MLB owners said, well, we're going to fund ourselves in preparation to miss games because we disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's where they're at, right? Players want their bosses to spend. Like that would just be like me going into my work, my employment, and just being like, I need more money. I need more money. Like, don't put a cap on it. I just need more. I just need more. Right. While asking them to also pay the bottom level employees like a manager's salary. Just
Yep.
using that as an example. Like that's a kind of a crazy ask, to be honest.
It is. It is. It-
So,
no, nothing. I mean, the hard part is that fans want to win. Fans want to see their team spend money. They say, well, billionaires, they can spend money. It doesn't work that way. You can't keep spending your own money to, make the fans happy. You know, you didn't get into baseball to buy a team and then spend a bunch of money on it.
Right. And I think
Um,
that's part of it is the markets that some of these teams are in just aren't profitable
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
I mean, it's very true. You've got very different economic landscapes for each team,
Mhm.
and that's the hard part.
Yep.
There's nothing common. In the NFL, you have that same situation with some different economics, but a lot of the big stuff's controlled. You know,
Right.
merchandise is all centralized, TV is all centralized. You have to worry about all that.
Yep.
You know, MLB, there's a lot of different deals out there.
Mhm.
And then lastly, this just happened a couple hours before we came on. The Brewers extended Pat Murphy for they're adding 2 years to his contract with a club option for another year. That'll make him one of the highest paid managers in baseball.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, duh.
The dude's been a rock for the Brewers, so I love
Yeah,
that. Good for him.
yeah.
Absolutely love it.
We all said when it's all left. Oh boy, what's that going to do to them? Murphy's been even better.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, love that for the Brewers. They're going to be an interesting team to watch this year.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think about them, but it's the same thing I said last year, and they ended up playing well. So I don't know. Crazy.
yeah. I mean, they could take a huge step back, or they could also be awesome again. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of teams like that. So
Yep.
all right. So you got nothing else? You
That's
good?
it.
All right. On Sunday, we do have some people coming on. I don't know exactly who yet. I do think Romantic About Baseball will be on. I think Michael's might be on. We have a couple others kind of floating around, but it will be a big roundtable prediction show where we are talking about our predictions for the AL East, Central West, same with the National League, Rookie of the Year, MVP, Cy Youngs, all of that. So standings predictions, award predictions, that will all be on Sunday. You guys are all welcome to come in, chime in, tell us how wrong we're going to be. But that show will be Sunday, so that would be a lot of fun to get some other guys on here and to talk some potential 2026 standings and results. So tune in then, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for everything you guys bring to the show every show, every episode. Appreciate it. And onwards to episode 400, Harrison. We're on the other side.
We're on
Getting
the
the
way.
400 all the way. But keep liking and sharing our stuff, guys. We appreciate the support more than you know. And we will see you all on Sunday. See you then.
See ya.